Hello, welcome, and hello again to episode 3 of The Baker's Dozen, not to be confused with A Dozen Bakers, another popular podcast that you might have heard of. Maybe if you're in that niche category of, baking shows with way too many. It's like the saying, the way too many cooks in the kitchen. This one's like way too many bakers with the dough. Like, it's just too much going on there. But this is not that show. This is not that show. This is a much higher quality. I just noticed my mic volume was down.
You're good. No, it sounds fine. No, you're good. This has not been the hottest start today.
I'm just saying.
Back. We are hanging. No, it came off well. I heard it fine.
I just thought it was so funny. I'm talking about the highest quality production, and my mic is at a quarter the volume. Oh, God.
It didn't sound that low.
Little do you guys know here, because this is all going to be from post-production at this point here. We were about 15 minutes into an episode when my dog decided to just have a fucking panic attack. And so now here we are attempting a take 2, and just it has been...
We're going.
We are going. At least now this also cuts out like the additional 10 minutes that we probably just spent trying to figure out why Plup was in the Smash World Tour for West Coast.
Plup moved after the Plup showdown. We're going to save you like 10
in case you
minutes
didn't
of
know.
banter.
In case you didn't know, because clearly we didn't.
We did not know. We never heard. We never got the memo.
No
usually
one informs us.
Usually I hear about Plup's personal life changes, and not this time.
You'd think someone out there would want to keep us informed, but no, it turned out no one wanted to tell us anything.
So yeah, Plup moved to somewhere on the western part of our country, and then won the NA West Melee Smash World Tour tournament.
Which, as we're jumping into topics and whatnot, we were talking about just like some of the fun things that we tried to keep up with this week, and of course, that being one of them, the Smash World Tour starting up here. We got all these fun, it's the first circuit, I guess, of its kind besides, because MLG did a circuit.
That was way before I knew anything about Smash. That was like the old people.
That's the
like
old
there's people that like weren't born yet that are like still probably doing well at their locals right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, World Tour and MLG. Where's the does MLG even do anything like even ironically for like any fucking gaming scenes anymore?
I don't know. Did you know that MLG used to have its own streaming service?
They had the MLG Procast, right? Wasn't that it or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard about it because Nadeshot had a deal and was on there with them.
It's believable. That's believable. Yeah. The man's is everywhere. Dude's just everywhere. Just living the dream. 100 Thieves sponsor the Baker's Dozen, not a dozen bakers. Just make sure
that's too many. That's too many merch lists to send out. If you're gonna send that to a dozen people, that's a lot.
I'm just saying though,
that's doable.
I'm just saying for a dozen bakers, a merch idea, just fucking aprons with each of your faces on it. Like everyone has their own. You'd find out immediately who is the most liked baker and who's the worst just based off sales. Fucking Kevin's is selling, like he sold 1,000 aprons yesterday. Yeah, Tim only sold like
Gary's over at like 40.
Gary's sitting in the corner, like the 3 aprons sold. I don't know. I mean, but on top of that, Smash World Tour starting up. EU Leffen coming back after playing absolutely anything but and taking that dub ski. Unbelievable there. I mean,
You ready for this?
I'm always ready.
You remember in our pilot episode, as some would call it.
The pilot.
we talked about the Valorant Last Chance qualifier.
Yes.
And how it was an online tournament, but it was LAN.
Played on LAN. Yep.
Then the week after, I think in the next episode, some would call that episode 2.
Some.
It was postponed because someone got COVID. I don't know if I told you that. Yeah, so they just like shut it all down. And people were like, why are we going to do a LAN again for this? Because it's all online servers anyways. So this week they're resuming. So like I saw 100 Thieves tweeted that they're going Friday.
But are they resuming it as a LAN or online?
No, it's online. It's going to be an online event.
Okay. So that's stupid, but also...
Well, I mean, it was stupid to be a LAN in the beginning when
Yeah.
it was still on online servers.
Yeah.
So they were probably like, are you going to really make us fly back out to LA to play on online servers?
Right.
And they were probably like, no, we probably shouldn't.
No, let's change that. And why aren't they doing it on LAN? Like, what is the issue? Did they say, or
I don't think so.
that's just fucking dumb. Like,
Yeah.
you can't tell me there's an issue with that still. Like,
Well, and the players were saying like they didn't know, the coaches didn't know. If
Right.
they had known, they would have raised such a stink before they even got there. It probably would have been moved to online.
right, and yet
That's
somehow,
like and I think we talked about this because I was like, it's like if we went and we showed up to like a Melee tournament.
yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, you guys are
Ready
playing
to play on
Slippy next
Slippies."
to each other.
Yep.
Good luck."
I mean, truly, even I would play on that before I'd play on fucking online tournaments. But
Well, I've never played. I mean, I just started playing Valorant not long ago. I've never played zero ping TAC FPS.
so Counter-Strike has a lot about that because zero ping and hit reg is extremely important with these type of games when reflexes and the visual is so out of touch. You hear about server side and client side errors or visuals all the time within games and things like that. So competitive shooters are 100% in that vein of like you need the lowest latency, the lowest possible connectivity issues to have the most competitive environment. So you're already having an online tournament. You're already you already lied to the people too. So there's already some sus in my mind about that. Like, how are you not
up front with that?
Yeah. Do you know who's the tournament organizing company or group?
It's Valorant. It's
just Valorant. Like,
it's Riot. It's
Riot. Yeah.
It's part of their huge like tournament series. Like this is the tournament series. It's like the last chance qualifier to get into like the worlds essentially.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, shit. Like that's what I mean. I think, and we probably did talk about this in part 2 of the first episode, where we. Oh, you didn't find it funny. Damn it. Part 2 of the first episode. It's episode 2. So essentially, like the concept where if you already have all of this like belief where we shouldn't even have like a LAN right now. Let's just make it an online tournament. Like, what was the reason? You don't have one to have ever brought people together like this. And now one of them got COVID. Like, yo, sue Riot for that. Like, real shit.
I don't know exactly, but they that's what it made it sound like.
Yeah.
Because there was like, it was talking about the health of the players.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was postponed. And I don't know, it could have been, I mean, it could be a cast. There's so many people behind the scenes. What if it was someone that was like doing all their makeup, you know? Like getting them ready for things like that. Yeah. Like, who knows? There's so many people. They're not gonna say.
How are you not testing everyone?
They're not gonna say this person. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's probably what they did, right? They probably test them every day, and then all of a sudden, someone comes in and it's like, oh, there it is.
I don't know. I guess it's just major irresponsibility from like I would say everyone there. Like, truly being invited to a LAN in the conditions we are in without full understanding and confirmation that everyone is either vaccinated or tested and cleared. That's just not it. And I think the other point I was going to get at was like, remember what we were talking about with like NASB being like a new esport now that has potential, which I'm already slightly worried about. It seems like the game's already kind of.
We got a whole new big patch.
Yeah,
we have dash dancing now.
We got dash dancing, everybody! Woohoo! Like, there's just so much with it where ultimately, like, if this is gonna be a gaming scene that's gonna create those type of same issues, it's like we're just gonna fucking go back into a circle of like uncomfortable like environments, uncomfortable players doing things they don't really feel all that ready for. It's just there's a lot that's gonna need to be paid attention to, but. On the topic of tournaments that I think are going very well, and I'm actually a big fan of, you might not have heard about this, but this streamer Nick V, he's holding a $400 plus pop bonus for a 70-star Super Mario 64 70-star tournament, where the way that you got into the tournament was submitting a time within the entry period that he held. And then your seed was based on that time.
I've heard of things like that. That's cool.
And it's a really cool tournament that he's been hosting, and has a lot of really cool like highlights from it. I think who was it? It wasn't Jacques. someone, I was watching a 4-way race yesterday, and one of like the underdog players, I'm sure if I could find his channel, he was like performing so much better than like the other 3 guys who were like above his seed. And
cool.
it's just so cool to watch like speedrunning tournaments and things like that still, because I mean, in my own mind, I think it's amazing. Speedrunning tournaments, I think like what we talked about in one of the previous episodes, I think it would have been part 2, but we covered the concept of speedrunning tournaments, how fun those can be, how fun they are to watch. You know, there's just a lot that can be on top of those, and watching
this is where we're really gonna dive into that.
Exactly. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Definitely a lot of fun coming your way here. I think if we want to touch on like the first part of things, I mean, competitive.
So before this, what explain what speedrunning is. It's obviously a little bit more than just go fast.
That's fair.
Sonic.
That is fair. It is definitely more than just gotta go fast, because you certainly do gotta go fast, but you gotta go really, really fast. You know, speedrunning. Essentially for
I wanted you to just leave it there. Like, you go really, really fast.
So otherwise, I mean, speedrunning is almost the opposite of casual playthroughs of most video games. You know, some are, but if there's one way to literally describe speedrunning, it is beating a game really, really fast. It is objectively breaking a game or exploiting a game to a point that you can get through pieces, you can find Easter eggs or certain exploits and things like that normally when playing in a casual playthrough or a casual experience you don't know, or you don't. Why would you know? So
it's not intended for you to know.
Unintended, exactly. It's a very similar sense to people that play like competitive games that don't have that much backing to it. Super Smash Brothers, like that was one of the biggest games that was like that. It's a party game designed for family and fun, and turns into one of the biggest esports. So it's like speedrunning in its sense is practically beating a game very fast in a most of the time unintended way. And I think especially in more recent years, it's experienced an explosion of popularity, way more than it had before. And partially due to content creation, partially due to world record expansion, more glitches, more innovations. Exactly. So much has just come from the speedrunning community in itself, right? Like you can broaden it to the speedrunning communities, and then there are specifics. You know, you get the little worms. Each game's
got its own thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Each genre has its own thing. Like you look at so many of like the Super Mario Bros. Games. So many of those guys are good at each one of them. Like not so much. You can't play like the original Super Mario Bros. And then play like Super Mario 64. But you have a concept and you have a grasp on platformers now. Yeah. So you can just kind of accomplish things. So that's speedrunning.
Yeah. So what do you think about when you think about like the mindset of speedrunning a game? What do you got to go into it thinking? How do you get better at what you do? Because I have a cool twist based on my sort of what I do. Yeah. But I want to see what you think.
So I mean, not to hipster out a bit here, but I feel I have a more unique perspective on what my mindset is within speedrunning of a video game, because in my mental, I'm not one to look at any game and immediately be competitive with it. I very much am okay with losing a game of Mario Kart. I'm totally okay with losing in Monopoly. There's a lot of games that like I can just play with friends and have such a good time with, even if I lose. Like, sure, I'll be competitive. Who the hell wants to lose? But I can be okay with it. Then there's competitive games that like I definitely get more frustrated. I definitely get more upset. Those type of games, when I'm competitive with those, they always start in that sense. But I feel, at least when it comes to speed running, most of the games that I choose to play with that are games that originally I had that first mentality with. It's something that I just maybe have a nostalgic mindset behind, or something about the game spoke to me in a sense.
That you like. You're not just randomly going, oh, this guy's speedrunning this. I'm going to now pick up that game without ever playing it.
I almost did that, but then I actually never got interested. I just didn't even pursue it. My brain was there where I wanted to an extent with no prior knowledge, but then look where it led, right? Like I never ended up picking it up. And spoiler that I think, do I still have it on my list? It was Owlboy. I don't know if you're familiar with that game at all. No, it's a platformer. No. A Pac-Man spinoff. It's a
Pac-Man, Owlboy.
I mean, totally related. No, like it's a platformer, and it's a pretty sick one in my opinion. It has a lot of really interesting features to it. Donkey did a review on it way back when, and ultimately, just like seeing a review of the game was enough to make me be like, I'd be interested in just speedrunning this. Like I don't know shit about it, but I would want to speedrun, and it never ended up happening. Yeah. Whereas a majority of these other games, so you look at some of the games I've speedrun in my life. So Undertale, funny enough, I played it once casually, didn't even ever finish it, and then watched.
That's me.
Welcome. I watched TGH. If you're familiar with him as a speedrunner, do you know him? TGH?
No.
Okay. TGH was the one that ran. He ran Undertale at let me find it here. He ran it at a GDQ. I want to say it was GDQ 2016 or maybe it was 2017. Let me see. And it's one of the most watched, I think, GDQ videos with over 640,000 views. Wow. I think this was him. Strike that. I'm completely wrong. Snowy 101, which is my dearest homie, actually has 1.1 million views on his GDQ run that he did.
He was always in your chat and stuff too.
Snowy's an amazing human being. Shout outs to him. But yeah, TGH ran Undertale at GDQ 2017, AGDQ. And I think he ran, was it True Pacifist? I want to say, yeah, it was True Pacifist ending. And this was the first speed run of this game that I had ever saw. And just, he had a good mindset about it. The couch crew for, I think, Cookie was there and Shay was there, two of the bigger names. And then I want to say there was someone else who did couch commentary, but I can't even remotely remember who the other guy on the couch is right there, and I do feel bad. I'm sorry. I know it's Cookie and Shay on there. Shay now, along with Mr. Link 2K, one of the back-to-back fighters for world record. But when I saw that, it made me want to speedrun that game. Next game that came on the list from that was Melee. I wanted to learn Melee adventure mode and target test speedruns. Right? Like, you play the game enough that you're like, I want to try and let's do something new. So
I put that down actually as something as like I thought about doing, but never. I mean, I never really put any time into it. Like,
I have a video on YouTube of let me see here. I did a blindfolded target test for Mr. Game & Watch. And I did it in like 9 seconds, 9.60 seconds.
We're gonna talk about blindfolded runs, don't you?
Hell yeah!
Wait.
Hell yeah! Also, Bernie Sanders has a Twitch. Bernie_Sanders, by the way. Just want to promote that because I was literally just like trying to scroll out of like so many of my open tabs, and I just have twitch.tv/Bernie_Sanders. I don't know if this is really him, but that's so funny. Anyway, so mindset to me when it comes to speedrunning is very heavily make sure it's something that you enjoy, because it is going to ruin it for you. You speedrun a game. And I mean that seriously. You pick up a game to speedrun it, you cannot play it casually again unless like that is the pure intent of what you are doing. You will never be able to just Super Mario 64. I don't see myself ever picking it up again and thinking like unless I end up learning like 70 star or 120. Yeah, like what I know how to do these things fast. You're never going to see me actually pound the chain chomp pole 3 times to get the star behind the gate. You're never gonna see me ride the owl.
That's the bomb glitch, right? That's the bomb.
That's
thing?
bomb clip. It's called bomb clip. Yeah.
I know a little bit of of Super Mario tech.
You do. And it's like even I catch myself messing up in runs now, because even though my PB in my opinion is still garbage, I catch myself trying to do new things, and I know that if I ever tried to play these games autopilot-y, the only one I think I could really do passively and just still have a good time is Undertale. And that's because there's so much that can be done within it to just kind of like have fun.
Yeah. There's different routes and paths you can take.
Exactly. The ending result can always be different depending on what you do. And I think that's one of my favorite games to like watch with a friend. And that's a big reason I wanted to with you, was because I'm like, I know what direction you will go based off what you do. You might not. And so if you want that communication, if you want the honesty, I'm here for it. But I'm also totally down to just fucking lie to you and just tell you, nope, no,
just
kill that thing.
Kill
that thing. You need to. And then it's like, you just fucked up. So stuff like that was huge to me. And what about you? I went on a tangent.
So my mindset for speedrunning a game, I'm gonna put this out there. I have speedrun. I've dabbled in 2 different games, and I'll get into them. I am not that into speedrunning, but a lot of the parallels I get come from me being a musician. When you're a musician and you practice, and the more and more you do it, repetition is just the name of the game. You do it again, you do it again, you do it 4 times in a row to make sure you can do it right, and then you just back up like a little bit and then do all of that again. That's just what you do to get better. And that's the way you do things. So when I was looking into speedrunning, even before I knew a game that I wanted to do, I'm watching these people and I'm like, wait, I know this like mentality, this grind that they're doing. It's like I'm practicing a piece. I've actually used speedrunning as an example talking to a private music student.
Really?
I was talking, he was a little baritone player. And I was asking what games he liked. Because he said he liked video games, and he said Mario. And I asked him if he'd ever heard of anyone doing a Mario speedrun before. And he had. And I was talking to him about Mario speedruns. And I said, say, I just used like generic. I was like, say like World 2 is where they have a lot of their problems. Are they just going to keep doing runs all the time if they're trying to work? And they said, no. I said, oh, no, what are they going to do? He's like, oh, they're going to work on World 2. And I was like, why? Yeah. Exactly. And then it's so we work on the part that we need to get better at, so that when we go back into the run, we go back to playing the piece, it's all there. And a lot of that sort of mindset kind of comes through. So even before, I spent a lot of time watching people speedrun before I even tried, and I was like, oh, this is kind of how it goes. This is what you do. The first game I ever really actually speedrun was actually not the one that probably more people know. It's actually a game called Crypt the Necrodancer.
I remember.
I probably talked to you about this game before.
Oh, so I watched you. You played in a tournament. Yeah,
well,
I watched
that's where I came and did these things. So Crypt the Necrodancer is a rhythm-based. It's a roguelike rhythm-driven game. And when I say rhythm-driven, like the beat of the music, that's where you put your inputs to the game to. So you're going. The soundtracks are amazing. There's Family Jewels arrived. There's so many like remixes and things with them too that are such good music. But all of your actions, all of the way you play and interact, and all the characters and the enemies move is to the beat. So as a musician, I'm like, this is the coolest game ever. But it's really freaking hard and really punishing. Yep. But I was playing and I was watching these people running it, and I'm like, oh my goodness. For me to do like a regular run, so like Cadence is a normal character, normally for me, I would probably do like a 30-35 minute to get through like 5 worlds and like finish final boss, things like that in the game. And they're like sub 15 like easily. And granted, they're like doing way things faster than me. And then I started to try to speedrun, and I was like, I'm just going to work to get faster. And I'm not, there's not, because it's a roguelike, it's more of like, these are the ways you get to these faster things, and there's some strategies. Right. But in general, it's like, how can I be more efficient, especially with everything going to the beat? How can I be more efficient with the steps that I have? Right. And I think I was getting around like 30-minute runs when I was like trying to, which was improvement for me, but it was still like, I mean, I never was like going around like the elite of the game, but it was just such a crazy thing to kind of get into.
Right.
And it's just like a punishing game to do it with. But you were also talking about games that you play casually and getting into that.
That definitely strikes me as a game that you can do that for.
Yeah. But I've never seen a game and was like, I'm going to get this to purely speedrun it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never once. There's one, it's actually something that will probably come up next time as something that might.
Not because we have anything planned or anything.
We do. But that I'm sure that's gonna come up because
True.
Because him and I have already talked about it. But
okay.
But I've never done that, at least to this point.
Mm-hmm.
But the other game that I ran was Cuphead. Cuphead.
Oh yeah, you did run Cuphead. You still
Yeah.
do? Don't you every so often, or not really anymore?
No.
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 Feels bad.
I like Cuphead. It's not. I can't call it. It's a platform shooter game. Like it's almost like beat 'em up shooter.
RNG.
Like boss levels. It's such a good game. The music's fantastic. The gameplay, the movement is actually really, really good in that game. There's so many good things to that game. So as I do with most video games, and I'm sure we'll have whole episodes talking about good video games that I spent years before I even played or haven't played. Cuphead came out like, I'm just gonna look it up. Cuphead.
I'm gonna take a wild guess here and say 2018. I'm gonna say 2018.
2017.
Damn it. Okay.
Run and gun video game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So came out then. Everyone's like, it's a good game. It's hard. So like, as we're like competitive, we're like sweaty melee players. Like, oh, hard game. That's good. You should play it.
Easy.
And I'm like, okay, and never played it. It's probably like 2019 ish, maybe even 2020 that I first played the game, and I was like, oh my god, this is like absolutely amazing game.
Yep.
Fell in love with it. I beat the whole game in like the normal mode, probably in like 2 sittings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another repetitive thing. There's so many bosses. You have to learn the different strategies. You have to do this. So then once you beat the game in normal mode, you get to do hard mode.
Right.
So then I do hard mode, and I'm doing all of them in hard mode. And then once you get all of the bosses in the entire game at an A, like one of the best ratings you can get per boss.
Like Sonic
or higher,
Adventure 2 battle.
Yeah. You unlock expert mode.
Okay.
And expert mode is incredibly difficult. All the bosses go faster. There's way more mechanics involved. And it's like really, really hard. And I ended up, it was like I was playing it a lot. I was watching, or I was trying to get better. And I was getting to the point, and I was actually even streaming this. And I was like almost getting S rank, which is like absolute perfect, not getting hit at all, getting all the parries, doing everything on all of the levels in the entire game.
Right.
And I was having so much fun, and I was like, what's the next thing I can do? Because this is past casual. This is past casual clearing of the game.
Point.
You can go like Let's Plays. It's very like, all right, I'm just going to like do whatever cheesy strat and like try to kill this boss so I can go to the next one. I was like grinding. I mean, same thing as speedrunning, right? Like I'm grinding the same boss for like 3 hours trying to like not take a hit so I can S rank this level. And then I actually looked up and I found a GDQ speedrun. And I was like, this is so sick.
Yeah.
So I had beaten all of them on expert. I think I ended up doing it on stream and like finished it. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to look in, and I started learning the speedrunning. And this was the first like real like routing of a speedrun I ever looked into. But that was fun.
There's a lot of routing that goes into that game, right? Like there's definitely different ways that you can go about doing it.
And it kind of depends on the category. It's usually like, this is like the meta. This is what you do if you're doing this category. Right. But even like you get 2 different guns. There are some like, oh, if you want the easier version, you do this, and then you switch here. And I was doing that for a while, and then I was going to, I wouldn't call them big boy strats.
Well, I mean,
like,
kind of.
But like,
it's
on the way to big boy strats, like not like baby strats for things.
there's beginner, there's novice, intermediate, and advanced. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that same vibe because 16 star is the exact same way, which is of course like that's the most recent thing that I ever picked up, and it's like it's the same exact thing because you spend time, you have to learn one way before you. Like I went about it so wrong. The trick, I don't know if you're more familiar with this one at all, Owlless, where you jump up onto this floating platform and you have to jump into an owl's cage to get a star.
Yes, I know.
You are familiar with that?
Yes.
So that is so much harder than any speedrunner makes it look. And there's faster ways than probably some that you might have seen. There's double jump Owless. There's a single jump Owless now. There's riding the owl. There's so much that you can do to get that star. But as a beginner, and when you're someone, even in my position here, who has a above 20-minute time, you should not go for Owless. You should just ride the freaking owl. Just ride it. It's easy. You fly up, and you go a little bit to the right, and you fall. You are guaranteed to land in there every time if you just do that right.
It's like consistency until you get into those like
so
next
easy.
levels of stuff.
Exactly. I picked up the game and immediately was like, no, I want to do Owless. I don't want to ride the owl. So I learned a more intermediate trick when literally like 90% of everything else I do is still like novice beginner level. I don't go for Dark World Reds. My bomb clip is still rather slow. My texture setup in Canonless is rather poor. I have very bad Bowser throws. Like there's so many different things that I know I still need to work on. But you can... I guess sometimes that's where it's like it's kind of fun to pick what you want to do.
Yeah, right.
And what you're comfortable doing, you know?
It's like this is the kind of thing that I'm gonna like dive into, and hey, when you get it, it's like this is so sick.
It feels sick. When I got the PB, and that's another easy topic to talk about is like when you got your first PB.
PBs.
And it was one that you were genuinely, and for those that were personal best. When you got your first personal best, it's like the initial feeling of it is just like, no way. No freaking way. When I got the sub 1 hour run in Undertale, I did not believe that I did that.
I was there for that.
You were there for that. I did not believe I did that. When I just got like the 22-22 in Mario, I did not believe I did that. I was like, what? Like, this was such a worse run than this. Like, then you go back and you can even look at some of these runs and you can be like, God, that was, and I think this is one of my favorite memes in like speedrunning. It's just like, God, that was such a bad run. Like
it's like that was such a bad run.
I just got a world record. God, that was such a bad run. Like,
it's like, oh, that could have been better.
Oh, like that's always the mentality of someone
that
that's already
that level of optimization is just it's like
wild.
Optimization to the max. Like that's what it is.
Yeah. There's always going to be room for improvement, and I think that's kind of what has led me to even continue speedrunning a lot of different things here, because I know that and I'm recognizing that more and more to a point where I'm done. Like, at least my goal right now when speedrunning Mario is if I make it past WOMs, I'm continuing. I don't care if I die. I don't care if I need to like reload a certain area. If I save and quit on accident, I will keep the run going if I make it past my WOMs. Yeah. There's so much room that I can make up. And so it's like, just go.
I had a, so for Cuphead, there's a whole bunch. I forget the exact number of bosses that you fight in the game. There's quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously, you're probably going to have your fastest time if you go through and do not die.
Yep.
And that was kind of a plan for a while. And I had a run that was on PB pace. It was like, I was not going to die. And then I get to like the second to last boss. So the second to last boss in this game, I spoil how it works. It's been out for 5 years. 4 years.
I still haven't beaten it, so I mean it is a spoiler, but it's all good.
It's well, King Dice. It's not that much of a spoiler. There's like he's got 9 mini bosses. It's like you're playing a game of like dice, and you like hit the dice to like move, and you can. The optimal speedrun strat is to just hit three bosses, and then there's free spaces you can get around before you get to the end. So you fight 3 bosses. That's it.
Okay.
That's just you do. And
Okay.
and there's most of them are like fast enough that you do, but there's like 2 or 3 ones that you avoid and you absolutely don't hit it because they're so bad and take up so much time. And then I think I had it on a PB. I PB'd by like 30 seconds. I like accidentally did an extra boss in there, and I probably took like a minute and a half.
Oh my god.
Of having to beat this. Like, if there anyone who knows thing about the mini boss, it's there's like a matching. It's like a matching card game in a boss.
Oh god.
And like a plane level boss thing that I had to do.
Yeah.
And but it was so funny that I think I PB'd that run. And in that PB, I'm like doing this monkey boss that I never should do.
I love it.
It was so good.
Shout outs to the monkey boss. This was something, though, that I did want to ask you about because it was a conversation that Callie and I had that I thought was... It wasn't like a genuine conversation that we really had, but like something within the concept of like mindset was like objectively speedrunning a video game being like the wrong way to play a game. And I thought about that a lot where, you know, again, to relate back to like Smash, the concept where it's a family-friendly game to like just, a funny beat-em-up Nintendo characters, ha ha ha, like it's just funny, and then turns into a competitive fighting esports, and it's huge for that reason. Is there, in your mind, a objectively right way to play a game, or is every game, which this is where I kind of feel, is every game made to be enjoyed by the person playing it however they want to play it?
Oh, when you frame it like that makes me...
Right?
I'm going to stick to my guns. I think there is an objectively right way to play games.
You think there is?
Because that is... When I say objectively, this is what they were going for.
Okay.
This is what the experience was sort of made to do.
Okay.
And then certain games are very natural. Like Cuphead, it tells you the time that it takes you to kill each boss. So it's very, very
like
clear
at
to
the
go,
end?
Okay.
Or what do you mean?
Yeah, at the end of each boss. It shows you the time it takes you to kill that boss.
Okay.
So there's a very natural sort of, okay, I could do this a little bit faster if that's something you wanted to do.
Okay.
But, and this is more of like a meme category, but it's kind of like an idea. There's a game actually... This is probably a week ahead spoiler a little bit, but it's perfect for this. So Spyro Enter the Dragonfly.
Yes.
It's a Spyro game, and there is a clip glitch you can do literally out of spawn in the game. Like you are 10 seconds into the game, and you can like dive down a certain way, and you are instantly brought to the final boss of the game.
Yep.
Like no questions.
I think Easy Skate, who's someone that I think is big into Spyro speedrunning, I think he did something about this before, or I've seen it somehow through one of his videos. But yes, I've seen that before
so
too.
it's like a minute and 30 speedrun.
Yep.
And like I feel like as like a developer or something, it's like, and I mean, I'm sure there's developers that are like, this is cool, look at what they're doing to push this game.
Yeah.
And then you see that, and I'm like, that's not what we wanted out of this. Like, you just completely threw the whole game out the window. And I think there's other games. I mean, there's especially, I think, like, Save States pushing a lot for, like, some of the Link game, the Legend of Zelda games, with, like, the any percents, and it's, like, a 6-minute run.
Yeah.
And things.
I mean, Undertale had that, too. I was the world record holder for hard mode. Like, that shit was literally a 6-minute and, like, 40-second category.
Yeah. So having that sort of, I guess I would say it's like objectively right. This is how it was intended. This is probably where it would go. Mm-hmm. But I think it's definitely valid to go, well, I don't see games that way. This is the way I get my fulfillment out of them.
That much I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It to me just gets to a point where the concept of objectivity behind an actual game, like, I don't find a single game made to be played a specific way. I think any game, if given the opportunity, can be played however you want it to be played. Look at competitive shooters. Yeah, I could. What if we played like I don't know, let's say Valorant. If we were to play Valorant, I want to play Jet, and I am only going to be a well, I guess Jet's kind of a bad. Well, maybe Jet's not a bad example. I'm gonna be an AWPer, and then 2 weeks from now, I'm also gonna be a rifler. 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be a close range shotgun specialist. Like, you can change how you want to play, even when the role or the character itself might be more specific in nature to this. Like, she might be, if I understand Jet correctly, I'm pretty sure she's more of an AWPer.
Yeah,
so
she's got good utility for that.
Because, yeah, you can dash away, you can smoke yourself off, you have a lot of tools that can help you with AWPing. So, Jet, I could play her however I'd want to. Look at Fortnite, very similar. If I want to be aggressive and get in people's faces and try to box fight anyone and anywhere, I can do that. Or I can just find the circle, sit in a tower, someone gets aggressive on me, I'll be aggressive back, or defensive, make an escape.
Playing for those top 5 finishes, you know?
Exactly. I'm trying to get the placement
2 kills,
points.
It was the 2 bots that landed on spawn with me.
Placement points, baby. We're trying to get those W's. But like you know, there's just ways of...
Yeah, there's definitely different ways to go at it.
And that's where, to me, it's like, I don't feel objectively there should be any right or wrong way to play a game. It is entirely, are you having fun doing it? And if you were to ask me right now, like during a Mario speedrun, if I'm not doing it for literal PB purposes, if... Let's say we have a friend named Carl. He's coming over. I'm going to hang out with Carl, and Carl goes, yo, I heard you speedrun Mario. Can you show me what that's like? Like, what is a Mario speedrun? I'm about to have a fucking blast. Like, I get to show you, demonstrate everything to you.
And that comes with streaming. Cuphead, the most fun part was me learning all of these strats and learning these things about bosses and then getting to talk to people about them who've just played the game. Exactly.
You talk to people that can relate to what you've experienced.
And this ties into the next thing. What video games or what speedruns do you like to watch? Because there's different games that I have no interest in doing myself, but I'm interested in watching.
So I've watched a lot of different speedrunning games. And as far as like, I guess if I were to put a main one behind it all, I mean, Super Mario 64 is still where my biggest one lies. I definitely watch like, it's crazy because like Armada being on a different time zone, I feel like I can always watch Armada at any time, playing 70 Star when I'm getting up for work or whatever. And if it's not him, then maybe Ouija is live doing 1670 or 120. The kid's a psychopath with this stuff. But if we want to talk more about like games that maybe we don't play but we watch, as far as like less interest to do it but to watch it, I want to say one of the big ones for me, as funny as it might sound, is Minecraft. I've watched.
I was gonna talk about that. No, keep going. Keep going.
I've watched a good amount of different Minecraft like speedrun people doing stuff, and like the biggest reason that I don't necessarily have an interest, but I also do, like it's so 50-50. I have both versions. I have what is this one? I have the Java version.
There's like Bedrock, right?
Yeah, I have both because I screwed up and bought both, thinking. I thought. I thought Bedrock was the right version, and then my friend was like, join my server, and I couldn't join it. He's like, what version are you on? I'm like, I'm on this one. It's the one that's on the Windows Store. He's like, no, you idiot, Java. I was like, why would I want Java? And he's like, that's the OG. That's the right one. Yeah. So, I've watched a lot of it, and I look at it, and I just go, what the hell is going on? The most I understand is you want to spawn in a desert biome, or as close to a desert biome as you can, and that's as much as I understand.
Have you played much Minecraft?
All for creativity. Never played the game through.
Yeah, so I I used to be. When I was a little kid, I was afraid of the monsters. So
Okay.
when I played as a kid, like you said, creativity. I didn't even do creative mode. I just did easy mode where there's no monsters. So I'm like
Aw.
legitimately going down to these like mine shafts and digging my own diamond just to like make my own little house.
I love it.
That's what I
love
did as a kid. And then me and my buddy Mike, we started playing. It was actually probably like a lull from not wanting to play Fortnite anymore for a while. We played Minecraft.
Yep.
And it was the first time I had really actually played Minecraft.
Yep.
And I might have nuked the VOD, I think so, but I streamed it one of our first times. It was like my first time going to the mineshaft, my first time ever finding and killing an Enderman.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like popping off. I was like, oh my God. It was almost like a little bit of like I'm like going past fears I had as a little kid.
Hey, break those boundaries.
Yeah. But so
Or not
I
boundaries,
learned
just
about, and we beat the game. We beat the Ender Dragon. I became DrewNG Player of Games. It's the title they give you. It's your name.
I
and
forgot.
Player of Games.
Yep. I've seen that with speed.
But so the coolest thing in those speedruns, there's a whole bunch of different things, and different versions have different ways that you can like get the ender pearls and the different things to get you into the end to do the ending fight.
You have to trade pig guys.
That's
right? You
the
give them
new
gold.
way. The new way is to do that, but before you couldn't do that, so you had to find other avenues to get the different ender pearls. Or things. Yeah, it's crazy. But the coolest thing is the way you kill the ender dragon. So
you do it with the beds,
with
right?
the beds, because you can't sleep there. And if you go to sleep, it explodes. So that's the strategy. You can't sleep. You can't go to bed. So that's what I was going to bring up. You have to use these beds and just blow him up when he comes by. Because
so
you're
funny.
not leveling up your bows. You're not leveling up your swords. So your stuff's going to do no damage. So all of it comes from these massive explosions that you do with the beds.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually watched that. I watched random people on YouTube doing speedrunning. I watched like a GDQ. Tifu actually speedruns Minecraft.
He does. He does. Yeah.
Who else? There was someone else.
Terrible.
There's some other streamer I was watching a decent amount who was doing it, and I was.
People there's entertainment to be had by speedrunning that game, and a lot of people.
And the thing I like about that is
it.
like it's fast paced, right?
Yeah.
There's
important
20-minute runs, something like that.
I think something along
I think
those
it's like
lines,
that.
yeah.
It's not a long run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's another reason that I love like speedruns like that is when they're not too long. But like other ones, even like Celeste, I don't know if you ever gotten to watching that. That's another one.
I haven't beaten Celeste.
I've never played it. I like watching
This is again one of those like we're gonna have a whole episode of all these amazing games. I'm just gonna like pull up my Steam library. Like, that's such a good game. Haven't played it. Haven't even downloaded that. I'm 40 minutes into Ori and the Blind Forest.
I've never played that either. I'm sitting here playing like only 4 games in my entire
That's
25
the problem,
years.
Right? And then I started to branch out, and then I started playing RuneScape again, and I'm back to like.
And now we're back to the grind. Yeah.
I don't even play Rocket League anymore.
My fucking membership ran out, and I'm like, do I even want to renew it? Or like, oh god,
it's a lot of time. I was thinking about that today because I came home and just like actually did adult things instead of like going right away and turning on my computer and playing games. I was like, oh my god. It's crazy.
I'm gonna make dinner tonight.
It's crazy how much I'm like getting done. I like cleaned my kitchen before I made dinner. It was crazy.
Look at you go. Look at you go. I'm proud of you. So as far as like most games that I'm interested in, I mean those are a pretty good list of mine. What about you? What are some of the ones for you? We just heavily discussed Minecraft. What else?
I guess I'm gonna talk about Crypt of the Necrodancer. Yes. So the thing I did, it wasn't necessarily even speedrunning. They had like races, like a racing league.
Right.
That you would get the same seed and you would go. And I did that for a season, and that kind of pushed me to get better at it. But I never was really doing much. And these people, these top runners do like absolutely insane things. And then there's harder modes in the game that make it harder. And then there's a character that you do double the tempo. So it's instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That's how you have to move around the game. And watching these people, it's like its own its own world.
Yeah.
And that's one I don't watch him as much anymore, but that was one that's like so interesting. But also even, and this is the kind of thing I love about speedrunning games, I'll like be watching someone and they host a speedrunner for a game that I either know a little bit or I know a lot. And then watching the speedrun of that is really cool because you get to learn. And then I'm like the newbie in the chat. I'm like, oh, why did you do this? And that kind of thing. Well, it was my buddy was speedrunning stuff, and then he hosts some guy that I've never met, and he's speedrunning Crash Bash. So we talked about this before. Dan doesn't know what Crash Bash is.
I don't. Yeah,
it's
I've
like,
never heard.
It's like, imagine like Mario Party, just the mini games. But like really good mini games, and then each world the mini games like change based on a certain theme. But it's like that sort of like 4-player mini game battle game that I would play all the time on my PS1 with my brother. Play Crash Bash all the time. We actually love that. A few years ago, I'd probably come home from college one time. We just like spent like 6 hours of just trying to see how far we could get playing more Crash Bash and getting into
just how many rounds we could go through.
But I was just like watching this random dude and he was just playing the beginning and I'm just like just totally hanging out, watching some random like Australian dude try
playing
to like
Crash
beat
Bash.
this one level faster and continuing his run. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, I probably wouldn't watch some random person do a casual Crash Bash stream, but watching that was really cool to me.
Yeah.
So that kind of happens a lot for me.
I get that. It's actually funny when you mentioned that. It made me think of 2 other streamers that I've watched purely from, well, not purely, one more purely than the other, but Liquid Wi-Fi. Are you familiar with him?
No.
He's a Simpsons hit and run speedrunner.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he has world record. If not, he's definitely one of the top runners. And then also Fuzziness.
Yeah.
Fuzziness in his Mario Party speedrunning is insane. And I know he also does some Melee speedrun stuff too. He used to have world records in those, but he's another one that's just like, no idea what's going on. No idea how you're being fast right now, but go fast. Gotta go fast.
Here's one, the epitome of I have no idea what's going on the screen. Super Monkey Ball 2.
Oh, okay. I've got some knowledge for that.
With Steven, our buddy Steven runs that game.
Steven CW.
We Glock in my Toyota. He's a New England
legend.
Game player. He's like got world records in that game now.
He does. Yep.
He like came out of nowhere. He's doing a lot in that. I think Fizzy used to play speedrun Super Monkey Ball 2.
I think so, a little bit, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I think like some random people. It's like, it's so unbelievably technical, and it's very intimidating. Like even like to me, like watching Super Mario 64 stuff is intimidating. But I like, at least I kind of get the understanding of like, this is how Mario moves. You do these jumps and then they go higher. I watched like Super Monkey Ball and all of a sudden they're like tilting their control stick like every different angle and like frame
exactly
specific.
On the right frame.
And
you
then,
have to
like,
pause buffer. Yeah.
And then I'm like watching and like he's like someone's like falling down the level and I'm like in my seat like, is he gonna make it? And I'm like trying to like look down and all of a sudden he's just like in the goal and I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, that was slow. And I'm like, how was that slow?
I've said so. There's so many like Super Monkey Ball, and now there's another game that's coming out. Shoot, am I not signed into Steam right now? Rolled out. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was like, I'm not signed into Steam.
Steven was streaming individual levels. Yeah,
exactly. And there's so many more levels just like that. That every single time I've seen Steven, anytime I've seen Complex playing, anytime I've seen A-List, anytime I've seen Petrus, like any of these guys that are incredible Monkey Ball players, Helix, just to like name drop all the homies real quick. But like so many of them, when they play these Monkey Ball-esque games and they do the free falls, I am right there with you. I'm holding on. I'm on my chair. I'm like, we're not gonna make it, guys. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Oh my god. Like the biggest thing for me was because I tried picking up Super Monkey Ball and I got to like World 4 of learning levels because This was something, and I talked to Steven about this before, was like the concept of if I ever wanted to get back into Monkey Ball speedrunning, what is like the optimal way to start learning the game? Because there are 10 levels per world. There are 10 worlds. So is it best to just say screw it and learn small, which is story mode all levels? Or should you start with beginner and learn like the first 20 or something like that and try and get a good time there before you incorporate more levels? And I think it was like, honestly, I think it was unanimously split where it's like, it's up to you. It really comes down to
what do you want to do? Yeah.
Because it all comes back to guess what? What did we already talk about today?
Like
routing.
What you want to do. Yeah, routing.
Exactly. It's all about the routing. Because certain levels, you're going to do something different than you would probably do in the actual run because it helps you get to this other destination faster. It's harder, but you're not really risking as much. Where it's like, if I'm doing beginner runs and on like the 4th level in, I have to do this very specific fall to go into the goal. Some great players are going to do that anyway because they're just good enough to do it. But if I'm a beginner and I'm still learning, I'm probably not exactly. I'm not going to go for that in a small run, which is now going to cost me to reset the entire thing if I'm almost 15 minutes in. Whereas on a beginner's run, it's like that's maybe like the first couple of them. So it's all coming back to the routing. And so I know when I got to my first free fall world in World 2, I think it's 2-4, whatever the name of it is. And that's another thing that impresses me. All the Monkey Ball runners remember the names of the levels. I only know the numbers. I'm like, yeah, my 1-8 is sick.
Well, what I would do, so for Cuphead, there's the level of the boss, but there's also the name of the music track. Because I would listen. I still do.
Do people call it by the name? No way.
I do. I think about that.
Oh, okay.
And think about that. But normally people will say like the boss's name. But like it's almost like this is the boss. This is the music that goes with that. And kind of having those there.
I actually love that. No, I think that's really sick actually.
The music
calling
so
it by the music.
It's like all like 1920s like big band. The art style's so good. That's
the whole documentary thing that, not so much documentary, but like all the information that got put out about that game, like there's,
it's wonderful. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's one of those that you're going to like want to slam your controller.
Remember the tutorial? Remember the tutorial thing that blew up? That was so like everyone just bitching at it, where it's like this game is so hard. The tutorial, like people couldn't double jump, or people didn't know how to double jump, or
fall through or something.
Yeah, like people couldn't. There was what was it? So there was a block, so you have to jump up on the block, then you have to jump and do like a dash or something.
Jump forward, then dash. That's like your one bit of movement.
No one was reading where it said to do that, so like idiots were just getting stuck there.
Stuck. No, it was. I think when did Celeste come out? Was it after that?
I'm gonna make a bet here. Celeste was 2017.
2018. So Cuphead came out first. Which means that that's the first route of like air dash, sort of thing that people saw. Yep. So they probably saw that air dash mechanic.
They
like,
stole it.
What the heck is going on? I don't know what that is. And then they probably saw Celeste and was like, wait, now this is like a whole game. Obviously, Celeste was already way in development by the time,
right?
But they were released like 3 months apart or 4 months apart. But
yeah.
This whole concept of this dash, and that was probably totally foreign to all those people,
right?
And like I said, it's a hard game, and I mean, I can't really speak to the playing the easier modes or the easier boss levels, but even just like trying to do like a normal, like not even like getting into the hard or worrying about the scores and things. The normal completion is hard, and
I never beat it.
It's there's so many, each boss has so many mechanics, and then each phase has its own set of mechanics.
Right.
And there's just so much, it's like an information overload. So like,
my favorite.
So like, it's funny, we talk about like it's hard to like watch someone play a game that you know how to speedrun. I actually love watching people play Cuphead for the first time because they're starting to see it and they go, this is what I have to do here. And they're like, oh my God, I'm going to get to beat this dude. And in the last phase, there's a new mechanic that completely screws you over and you die. And then they freak out because they were so close.
I would definitely be that guy.
It was Chelly Toms.
Oh yeah.
She was playing Cuphead, and I was in her stream actually a good amount. I mean, I wasn't really talking much. I wasn't there to backseat and say, oh well, this is for the category I ran. This is the optimal gun combination you should use.
Let me tell you about my personal best.
Like that's I wasn't there for that. I really wasn't even talking much. I was just like, I want to see someone learning these things. Or she's like fighting a boss, and I'm like, oh no, she doesn't know that she can't stand there because this is gonna happen next.
I relate to that on every level when I was playing Undertale. No, like every single action, every single thing you're gonna do, I know.
You know the game so well that you know what's gonna happen.
That's what I think is so fun. I genuinely enjoy that. I like watching people speedrun a game that they are, or not even speedrun, maybe just play a game. Yeah, it's always eventful, and I definitely love that. That's why one of my biggest things that I wanted to do was have Callie eventually play Undertale one day, just to get her take on it. I just think it's a beautiful game in and out. But
I got to the trombone part, so that's like that was my big moment.
Well, and I think this is a good lead in here because I'm curious what it is that ever drew you to speedrunning in the first place. What was it that you saw, or what was it that you did that made you say, I want to try and speedrun this?
I think, going back to the Crypt of the Necrodancer, that was my first ever, wait, should I try to, like, seriously try to play this game fast sort of thing? And it's because I was watching all of these races. And obviously, I'm not watching these races going, I'm going to take down Spooty round 1 and, like, undercut his times. There's like no world that will ever happen. But there was and I like kind of, we'll talk more about communities and things, but like it was very helpful, things like that. And then I was like, hey, they had an open league, like no charge, just like, hey, free league. Basically what you do is like you sign up, you get put into a tier, and I think he was like 5 matches or something. You stream your matches, they'll have someone commentate them too. So a lot of times, even though I was like the equivalent of like new, like absolutely gonna go 0-2 person, like every set I sort of did, there was someone commentating, someone who was way better. And if I was really interested in my growth in that game, I could have went back and found them recording and commentating and getting analysis that way. Because it's all these like better players that have probably can do what I do in half the time, saying, hey, maybe he should have tried to do this instead, or things like that. But that was for Crypt of the Necrodancer. For Cuphead, I started to see the game as like in a competitive way. And like you were saying, sometimes it just comes from competitively doing a game. Yeah. And I had beaten the all S ranked, all expert, and was like, what is my next goal? Like, what is, I want to see while you talk, I want to see what I'm going to look, because I think I have a Steam achievement for getting all S ranks. I want to see what the percentage of, it's not much.
How far you are into it?
Or the percentage of how much it is. Or how many people have that. Because it's okay. And it's one of those things, like, I don't know if the people speedrunning did all of that, because the people at the top have done everything, like every category, but that's different. But what about you? What led you to Undertale? What led you to the other things?
The TGH speedrun, definitely. I was really sad, I think. Something had happened, and I was really, really sad, and that speedrun was on, and I was taking a walk watching that speedrun on my phone, and this was when we were in college. So I'm taking a walk, I'm watching the speedrun, and all of a sudden I just was amazed by it. I love the story in itself, especially True Pacifist ending. If you've never played it to True Pacifist ending, or you've never seen it to there, you will cry. It's sad, it's cute, I love it. But watching that through, I was just like, I want to play this game, and I don't care if I haven't finished it yet. I just want to. And also, that was the other part of it, is just Teej's personality, which, reverting back to something you were talking about there in community, Communities for a lot of these games are very helpful, very generous, very supportive. Biggest shout out in the world to Fixie LOL. He's another Undertale speedrunner. I think he's another one that's really good and competing still for one of the top spots, I think, from the last time I checked up. But he's still an incredible person and helped me so much with trying to learn certain things. Snowy 101, again, same thing with him. It just, a lot of the time, these guys and these people in the Discords and in the speedrun groups, they pay attention to when like newcomers join. If you put in your title that you are speedrunning a game, I can almost guarantee you people that love that game too are checking. Well, first they're checking speedrun.com probably to be like, where are you? Or they go to your stream and say, what is your PB? And then they'll watch for probably a bit. And if they notice you're struggling or if they notice you're asking, they'll respond almost always with something. And that's how I ever first met Fixie, I think. If not through a host, probably from Snowy. But I'm almost positive it was because Fixie came into my chat while I was trying to learn a new strat or something like that. And just was like, oh, if you try and do this, like, you know, you're more likely to have success, or it'll be faster, or maybe try and do this, like theory crafting certain things. Yeah. So a lot of it to me came down to the TGH commentary persona game combo from AGDQ. That was just a moment for me that I loved. But then any other game after that, it really just came down to, I just want another game. I want another game, and for Melee, it was like, I'd already been playing this game. Why not find another fun way to play it? This was pre-Slippy era, too, so sometimes it would be like, oh, I can't really go to Anthers and play people right now, because I don't feel like dealing with the laggy games and whatnot. Or in some cases, what would be like the other one? Or for Mario, right? It's... I never played that game seriously. Like, I mean, I remember it from my childhood. I remember Big Boss Bowser out here.
I didn't play any of those. I played.
You never played any Mario games?
I played Super Mario Bros. On my Game Boy Color.
On the Game Boy Color. That's a throwback.
I don't know if I ever beat it, though. I'll be honest.
You know, completely off topic. With Nintendo DS, did you ever have Yoshi's Island DS?
Nope. I didn't.
I'm just gonna.
I didn't have my own DS. My brother had a DS, and I would borrow it because when we went on band trips, we would play Mario Kart on the bus ride to where we were going. But I didn't have my own DS. I
just want anyone that watches this episode, and if you get to this far, leave a comment of :egg : if you had Yoshi's Island DS and would intentionally turn the game on, listen to the starting screen's like ocean sound until it went to the music. Drew, I want you, after this episode, go to YouTube and just put in Yoshi's Island DS main menu music or something, or just like opening music. It is so peaceful, so relaxing, and has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about right now other than Mario. But like, most beautiful music of all time. Anyway, so with speedrunning communities and things like that, it really just kind of helped me feel like, you know, if I'm going to get into this game, there's people there that are going to be willing to help. And with Mario so far, I mean, a lot of the same people that we've even talked about already, Steven being one of them. I know another one being Kaon, JKJ actually. Another name from people we know together. Just been extremely helpful with, like, you know, maybe try and do this. Here's a video guide for this, because there's so much content. There's so many people that have made and helped develop ways of finding or helping newer players get into a game and get good. You know, and that's one of the biggest things that I think helps make a community is your content creation and your I guess you could say like your acceptability, like your understanding,
or your willingness to help too, right? Like when I was speedrunning Cuphead, I had some random guy, and he didn't even like follow much, and I just like, he was in there a lot, and he was giving advice, just like little things, like I was asking. He didn't come in and go, "This is what you're doing wrong," and I looked, he was like top 10
Yeah.
Like, he had a very competitive time, and like even in like more obscure categories, he was like one of the best. And I'm like,
Yep.
this random guy, he like lives in the other side of the world, is just coming to like watch and help me, and like these kind of things. Or like I would go into like a stream, and I would be watching someone, or I'd raid them or something, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I speedrun this category if they were speedrunning, and all of a sudden
top players in speedrunning community, in my opinion, are so exactly not only just the most wholesome, but they are so different than comparatively like Smash pros at times. You will never catch Mango in my chat, probably. You will probably never catch Hungrybox in my chat, at least where I am right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm a nobody to them right now. You look at a speedrunning community, at least back, let's say, when I was learning Super Monkey Ball 2, like when I was learning small, A-List, who was literally, if I'm not mistaken, either the world record holder or a contender for the world record holder, like top 3 at least, actively in my chat asking like questions as far as do I have any, being entertaining and like laughing with me at funny parts, just being such a fucking good person. And
I love that. I've had nothing but good experiences.
Yeah.
With people. What other communities or top players or things like that have you had those sort of moments with?
I mean, Mario so far, nothing. But I think I'm still very, very new into it. I think if anything,
sometimes
JKJ. But,
sometimes it's those smaller communities. I don't want to say it's like as much of a niche, but just those smaller communities. No, it is. Like, I mean, everyone and their mother knows someone that's speedrunning a section of Super Mario 64.
Really, they do.
I mean, like my Cuphead time, I think was technically like top 30, which is not it wasn't a great time. It was all right time. I think Steven's time's already better than mine. He picked it up. He used to speedrun a while ago, and then he like watched me a bunch, and he picked it up, and he like is like a couple minutes past my PB, and I'm like, oh my god, he's quite a gamer. But like
quite a legend. The
people like Jason 2890, he's got almost every single category.
What a name, Jason 2890.
He actually is also like not professional, but like top rated Pokemon Go player too.
Really?
Yeah, he streams that I think more than he streams Cuphead now. But he's he's the nicest guy. That's the person I saw doing a GDQ that got me hooked into like that was the first run I saw, and I was like, I went in his chat and I was like, hey, last week you did a GDQ and I watched it, and he's like, oh, awesome, you're interested, that's so great. Here's our Discord for speedrunning and things, and I just went in, had some very like how do I get started, and like him and this other dude who was like that like went back and forth between world records were the two people giving me resources. Yeah. And like minutes after I responded. So they're like waiting for people, or they have like notifications so they see people are trying to look.
Right.
And it was so nice, and like and it was enough that like I was in there enough that he didn't really know who I was, but it was like I was a regular in his chat and different things, and I think there was a time that he ended up in my chat at some point, sick. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I know.
Hello.
I know there's like 15 minutes I can shave off this run,
but please don't judge
like,
me.
Oh
right
my
now.
goodness. But like that stuff's so cool. That. And then this is with back to the Crypt of the Necrodancer. This is Spoody. I mentioned him before. Spoody Biscuit is like, he's like the guy, right? And he's like pushed every character, different things like that, and. I'll talk more about him when we get into the crazy stuff, but he is one of he's just from what I've seen, just like super nice guy. His heart is in the right place. He sets a good example for his community. He's like, I like him and Jason. I like can't speak more highly of than I think of when I think of people like in any sort of gaming space.
Yep. No, absolutely. And I think that's why another reason that like I'm so much more comfortable picking up a new speedrunning game now is because it's like I I don't think I ever have had that type of introverted personnel. I know I'm much more extroverted, so it's like being in a new community I'm never really all that worried about in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of things about myself, at least now, where like one of the easiest is I know I get frustrated fairly easily at certain things. And so speedrunning I know could very easily become one of those things that just frustrates me, and that would lead to an unfun experience. So now picking up certain games, it's like seeing how most of these communities are and how a lot of these people are around each other and how helpful. Yeah, it definitely makes me feel a lot more welcome and a lot more like there's something to gain than random Smasher 79 who's calling me shit at Melee any other time on Anthers. So I would say that was one of the biggest reasons that I ever got into it as well.
Yeah. So,
I think to kind of like go towards a wrap up here, I was always interested with this as far as like some of the most impressive moments or even like funny moments that you know. Because within speedrunning, there's so many different games that this can apply for and that this can be a result of. To me, at least right now, the most impressive and shit, like call me based, but like the most impressive speedrun world record in my mind right now is Liam King's having the Super Mario 64 120 star world record.
Didn't that happen
because
recently?
That just happened like within the past month.
Yeah.
And he was gone for a year.
I heard about this.
Yeah. He disappeared for a whole year, if not a little bit more. Came back, said he'd been playing a little bit, like on and off. Granted, I mean, like how much do we know? Because he was just gone for a year. His Discord, I've been in there the whole time. We would just constantly meme and stuff. And then one day he just posted like something in there. I think just being like, "Hey," and everyone just lost their mind. They're like, "Oh my god, is he coming back? Is he coming back? Is he coming back?" 2 days later, I think he was like, "I think I'm gonna try to stream tonight. Like, you guys can come by if you want." And he streamed. And then started practicing Mario again, and within that first month of him being back, got a 138.13.
Broke it.
Broke world record by like over 10 seconds. I'm pretty sure. If I'm not wrong here, I'm gonna even just fact check myself. But it's like, dude comes back and does that.
Just like
that's
wild.
That's immaculate to me as far as like the talent, the skill required. Yeah, okay, so not 10 seconds. It's an 8 second,
still
8 seconds faster. A 138.13 versus the 138.21 by plethora 6 months ago. 2 weeks ago, Liam set that, the 138.13. And it's like, that to me is by far one of the most impressive things in a world run perspective. I think the most impressive like speed run or game,
or like
in
moment.
my opinion. Yeah. I think some of the biggest, if not the most amazing and impressive things come from, I think, oh God, what is it called? It is a Yoshi's game. Trihex would run this. Oh my God, because of just the APM on this. Yoshi's Island.
Okay.
The Yoshi's Island games, or no, which one is this here? Yeah, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Okay. Those games with a high intensity for their APM, like some of that is just so sick. So fucking sick to watch. And it's another one of those games. I have no idea what's going on, but I find the movement extremely impressive. I find the way that they've found routing throughout that game to still go fast, and like the 100% route more specifically, because that game is pretty fast for 100%. It's like maybe 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
So that shit's crazy to me. And then as far as like the funniest thing in the world to me from speedrunning, this one's not that wild, I guess, but definitely the guy that got caught cheating and blindfolding speedrunning of Mario 64.
I heard about that too.
So funny to me. Like, I mean, it probably wasn't great in all actuality for him, but fuck him. That was a really shitty and slimy thing to do, and then his apology is half-assed as hell. tried to play it off like he didn't do it, and like, oh, my community knew it was a joke. We all knew it was a joke. No, they didn't. So to me, that was funny. And then Charlie Brown 64, who made an incredible video detailing what happened and like showing everything that went wrong, giving credits to Bubzia and
I think I saw that video.
Yeah, it has like 4.9 million views, if not more. Definitely give it a view if you haven't. Anyone that's watching this that hasn't. But it's just a great way that, in my opinion, it was a great video that didn't out the cheater. It didn't publicly be like, go fucking roast this guy, go destroy him, tell him how much he sucks. It was nothing like that. Only thing I think he did was just maybe tell him he sucks at Bowser throws once. But like everything else in the video, he's pretty much just like, this is where it's obvious he did something that was very blatantly wrong. Yeah. This is a comparison to like plethora or
someone else.
Some of these other guys that are really good. There's a Japanese player, Nabori, who's incredibly talented with it. And there's many others that have started picking up blindfolded speedrunning. So to me, that was the funniest thing. Yeah. Next to maybe there was a GDQ where this guy, I think it was Ninja Gaiden or something like that he ran at the game, and he just was so like monotone the entire time, just like, I'm not having fun. This game is so stupid. Like,
have you seen the? Oh, hello.
Yeah, you're good. You're still here. You did like just
everything just
glitch
flashed.
out.
My Audacity is still going. Probably my computer. It looks like I'm still here, right? I'm talking.
You are alive. Yes, you are still here with us.
Sorry, it like everything flashed in my apartment.
No, I saw that. Yeah. Oh my god.
But did you ever? It's a Minecraft speed run, and it's a GDQ. I have to. I'm sure it's out there, and the guy has like no idea what he's doing, and he's just like hyping up the speedrunner, and he's just like yes, you got this. Like, oh, that was so good. Like, yes, that's all he's saying.
Really?
The entire time. It's like a famous
oh my
GDQ speedrun or Minecraft speedrun. And the guy like world records in like a GDQ showcase.
That's sick.
Is it this one? Did I find it already? Hold on. I recognize the dude.
You played that good.
Yeah. It looks like the speedrun 2014 AGDQ by Bismuth. I can see the guy next to him, so that's like the person running it, and then the dude's like right here, like over his shoulder, just like nice, like yes, good job, like that was sick.
That's
the
sick.
whole time.
I love that. That would be the perfect commentator for me.
But
that's it.
So I just want to get into I think this like wraps up speedrunning a lot as well. The craziest moment is actually, so you talked about blindfolded runs. So there's Crypt of the Necrodancer. I've talked about that game. So rhythm-based roguelike. They collaborated with Nintendo and did a Crypt of the Necrodancer Legend of Zelda collaboration and game called the Cadence of Hyrule.
That's kind of sick.
So like random indie company with like kind of cool idea, but like not that popular because it was really hard and it's hard to get into, is in the Zelda franchise now.
I mean, shit.
Which is crazy.
Let's go.
And then so Spoody runs that. Spoody Biscuit, he runs that. He did a whole bunch of different things. There's like a permadeath mode. If you die once, it's completely over. There's other ways because the normal mode wasn't like that because this game's more forgiving. There's one character that was like one hit and it died and it couldn't use certain weapons. It's because it's all still like a roguelike, but it's like it's like roguelike instead of just like dungeons. It's like open world like Zelda, but each room, each floor is like its own mini like level you got to go through still to the beat. Right. So he's doing all this stuff with this game, pushing things. About sometime this summer, he goes, I'm going to try to speedrun, or I'm going to try to play this game blindfolded. And
No.
this isn't something like Super Mario 64 where you at some point you're going to be able to go, okay, this is how I start the game and I get like to the bridge. You know what I mean? I don't know much about 64, but you could probably do some of that like blindfolded.
Oh, what? Laku skip? I have no idea.
Or
probably.
Something. But I'm sure you probably could, or people could. But like this is like randomly generated overworld. And just using the sound cue of like the different sound cue of like the different music changing or overworlds and things. And he's doing these runs. He's done a couple of them now, but I was watching his first ever one, and he did it over like multiple streams the first time he ever did it, and like completely sick. But this is the craziest moment. He's doing one and he's in like a little dungeon, and there's different like traps and things. So he ends up in like a pile of water, and you need to use a beat to get up out of the water and then step out to get up. But there's a fan that was pushing him in the water. So essentially he's soft locked.
Sick.
He can't get out. He has to like essentially like teleport out. There's like a loot thing you can use to do that. But we're watching him. He's blindfolded. And we see it, and we're like, he's so screwed. And he's sitting there. The clip's deleted, probably when everyone nuked their stuff for DMCA. I went back today to look for it. And he's going, and all of a sudden he pauses the game. He goes, I think I'm soft locked. I think there's a fan above me, and I'm stuck in water, and that's why I can't move. And just
sick.
Him being able to comprehend that like 3 hours into doing this run in this dungeon, just like
that's actually nuts.
It showed a level of mastery and like complete understanding that is like hard to fathom. Like and I think it's like a good way to wrap up like these speedrunners, these people at the top. They know these games so well that there's so many things that are like such random occurrences that
they can figure it out.
Literally can figure out blindfolded.
Yeah.
Like he's beating it, and I was like watch him beat it and things, and it was so cool. But to watch him go like figure that out and go, I think
that's what's happening.
He's like, because he was trying to move around, he's not hitting other things, and he can like tell by the
like,
sound cues he's not moving. Yeah. And he's like, and he knows what type of like dungeon he was in, and it could have the fans, and he's like, I think I'm soft locked, stuck in water, and I mean he can't look at chat, he can't. So we're in there like freaking out that he's able to figure this out, and he's like, yeah, I'll have to like go back once I finish the run and go and see what is actually happening. But it was just that it's really just like mastery.
It is. No, 100%. 100%. The way they can also improv on certain parts of a run if something is going wrong, and these runs have the ways. Exactly. They definitely can do that, and I find it so sick. Yeah. I find it so sick. But I guess as far as wrapping up, then that's a lot of what we covered. We definitely went longer than I was actually expecting us with everything.
There was some changes, and we're like, oh, this will probably be like a short episode.
It ended up being about as long as the usual. So, I mean, to wrap things up here, I like where your head was at in the beginning of our take one of this episode. But definitely want to also give shout outs and love to the people.
Oh, the commenters. Yes.
Yeah.
The commenters. I talked about them before. Thank you for all the people that are liking the videos and commenting the videos. I went back and I saw like different people, different communities. I got all excited. I was like, hey, that's so cool. Like you saw this. I forgot about that. We did talk about that.
Absolutely.
But it means a lot.
A big love to the Skilled Roy, Cypher 003, and Josh. I Can't See Green, our buddy Josh. Just a bunch of great people here. Appreciate you guys are both colorblind. Yep. Jesus, what a life! What a life! Don't worry, green's not that pretty.
What about reds? Sometimes
reds are actually pretty sick. What color are my headphone jacks right here? What is this?
I can't.
What color is this?
It's hard to zoom in, man. I'm like,
what color is it?
I can't even see. That's like a red. Right? Well, it's hard to see. I'm like, I've Discord like.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a
It
red.
is red.
Yeah, it's
That's
a red.
why I was like, you can see that shade of red.
It's more of like if you had like a red and a green that were like pretty close, and then I like couldn't distinguish them. It's hard when it's like a lot of things next to each other, or like that.
About these, yeah.
Hey, I know that. I got you that.
Shout out to it. It's a present from Drew from long ago. I keep it near and dear to me, man. That's my favorite coaster. It's my favorite coaster. But okay, yeah, as far as that goes, always just want to give thanks to those that comment. Maybe that's incentive now. If you're watching the video, leave us the comment below. Make sure if you've ever listened to the Yoshi's Island theme song, leave : egg : and as far as anything else goes, I introduced the episode. You can close us out.
Oh, that's me?
That's you.
So that's it. So I just like cut it. I'm like, boom.
That's it.
Clear. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. We have more ideas, and I kind of leaked it before. We may have a special guest next week. So look forward to that. Could be our flavor of the month. Who knows? All right. Peace out, guys.
He's even leaking the title. But awesome. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Next time.